Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to talk about uh, family, extended family, family and friends. How much money do you actually give them, or do you give them any money at all here in the Philippines? We're going to talk about this today briefly, so stay tuned. Giving money to family. How about having family have money, getting money from you, or maybe you get it for them? Now, we're going to talk today about how much you give your wife, how much money you give your wife a month, or should you? Or should she do the bills, or maybe you do the bills? Or how much money do you give your family in case they want to borrow? And that's going to happen where someone wants to borrow some money from you, maybe. Or maybe they need just a little money until maybe a crop comes in, things like that. We have often people that have their own farms here, meaning that the Filipinas and their wonderful hubby here, foreigner, has decided to grow something in the field and have either corn or cattle or pigs, or have some type of there's many kinds of guava, and some have small fields of lemons and rice fields. Well, you know what? Giving extended things and how things are, more and more people, it's become more publicized now, and more people are asking me these questions about, well, how much do I give her? Do I give her any? And should I give loan family money? It's all entirely up to you. If you want to loan a family member some money, just always remember they want to borrow it. And borrow here, the word terminology borrow means they're just going to borrow it, meaning they're going to not pay it back. Borrow means to give, to let someone have. The borrowing to me is pay back. Now, for an example, if someone comes to me and they want to borrow $100 or $500, they have to pay it back. If they don't pay it back, they don't get a loan again. Have I loaned out money? Yes. Have I loaned out large sums of money? No. Have I loaned out on an average of 20 a year? No. I have loaned money, yes, and I've actually gotten loans of money from also them. There was a couple times in the past where the MoneyGrams and the Western Unions did not work, and there was a time when I was building that house, and this house was coming. I needed to have some funds. The bank had funds in it. The bank accounts had money in there, but there was no money in town. There was no accessibility to money. The banks were either out of service, or the ATMs were being worked on, or they just ran out of money themselves. And that happens quite a bit. You'd be surprised. Always remember, if you need to pull out, say, $500, pull out 1,000 and keep 500, which is 25,000 peso, in reserve somewhere. Take that 500 and keep it and hide it. Don't touch it. Don't even if emergency happens and you absolutely have to have it, grab it, because that's what you use it for. If you take 1,000 out and 1,000 out and 1,000 out before you go, it's gone. There are times where they will ask for money to borrow and they pay it back within 2 weeks or a month and things like that. And yes, that happens. And I have done that. And it's okay by me. I mean, if I give it, in a lot of cases, I don't expect it back. But I'm not the type of person that I go and loan money, and loan it and do that. I'm not one of those guys. But we often have times where someone needs money, you need money, maybe medical emergency or something happens. And that happens, and that's okay. We sometimes I'll get a visitor, or maybe I've not seen for a period of time. For an example, the visitor's not a normal frequenter around me, and the only time that person comes around is when they want to loan money. And that has happened, yes. You will find yourself immediately, they walk in the door, you just say, don't even worry about coming in, you're mine. but it may be something completely different. It may be something that says, hey, I've got this stuff, I'm selling this stuff, or I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And you think that they're for loan, but they're not there for loan. Either there's something that they want to show you, or they have, or maybe they're selling something that you might want. And that's happened too. There was one time a family member came in and they weren't trying to borrow money. They were saying, hey, there was an opportunity that, as you know, my wife works at Robinson's and they have ground beef on sale. And we're going to buy a few kilo of it. You want to get a few kilo for yourself. And that happened back a couple times in my past. It's before the honey badger came in. As you know, that's something that don't happen anymore. I don't see that anymore. It's like I don't even see a cow. I've not seen a cow in it's probably been a year or so, or more. Not even out in the fields. We often sometimes find ourselves in unfamiliar territory like that, meaning that they want to borrow money. We want to borrow money or something. Now, never borrow money here in the Philippines unless you absolutely have to. Don't go down and borrow money. Don't borrow from the Turkish. Don't borrow from the Korean. Don't borrow from the Chinese. Don't borrow money. As a foreigner, don't even touch it. If your pension and you need to wait 2 weeks before your pension comes in and you're out of money and you're broke and you have no other means of money, you might need to rethink your budget and make sure you go over your budget. Make sure your budget's okay. A lot of times what happens is things happen. We all know that. 100 here, 100 there. Before you know it, there goes your whole income of $1,500, $1,800 that you get every month. It just goes. So you have to really look at things. I know that sometimes I catch myself and I say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and buy this. And I'm glad I didn't buy it because something happens. There are times where the banks will be out of funds and you're not going to be able to get your money. And that will happen also. But today's video is about should you or shouldn't you? It's entirely up to the person. And for me, I will give if there's a big need for it. Of course, I will give. And give meaning give. Because if I see someone that's hungry or that I know that's hungry, I won't give them the money. I'll give them the food. Like I'll go buy 5 kilo or 10 kilo of rice to get them through the month or whatever and feed them. And I will do that. And I have done that. Yes, I have done that multiple times, more than multiple times. In fact, I don't know. I'm not a counter. It's more than that. But I want to tell everybody that here in the Philippines and even in USA, there's going to be times where you're waiting for that check to be deposited in there. And it's not a situation that you don't have the money. It's a situation sometimes too that you can't get access to it. We recently had someone that came to us that their cards are not being accepted from US. Well, come to find out, they did not know, I don't know how they didn't, that they had to make sure that the date on the card is not expired. These debit cards now are good for 2 years and sometimes credit cards for 3 years. So you really have to take a close look at it. I know back in the day when I got my debit card, it was good for 3, 4, 5 years, depending. Now they're only good for 2 years and the credit cards are good for 3 on my cards. Now I don't know if that's everybody else's, but on my banks that I have, and I have 2. We always keep an eye on it, but you have to be prepared for that. If you have to have cards shipped here from your bank, remember that, take a look at that, because that will happen also. And you be prepared that it doesn't get here in a day. It doesn't get here in 2 days. Sometimes it may take there 2 months to get here. I want to thank everybody for always watching our videos, and thank you so much for everybody spending your valuable time with me. God bless everybody, and I'll see you next time.